Well, hello there, folks. Welcome to this channel and welcome to this video. And this video is all about how can you best prepare for your very first keynote presentation. All right. Now, it's a little bit of an unusual topic, bit of a something that I haven't really spoken about on this channel at all. But I just really wanted to sort of give some tips, some tricks, and some know-how on how you can best prepare if you are ever going to speak on stage for the very first time. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm actually going to unpack the steps that I went through when I did my very first big keynote presentation in front of a very large audience of around 200, 300 people at a national conference. Now, what I'm going to do is, as a special bonus, is I'm going to drop the link to the actual presentation itself in the comments below, so you'll be able to check that out, which would be really good. But basically, that was the highlight of my career, so to speak. That was the biggest presentation I'd ever prepared and delivered. And it was a very exciting moment for me in my journey as a trainer and presenter. But for me, it was a huge leap in capacity. It was something I'd never done before. And there was a number of things that I went through in order to be able to do this, right? What we need to appreciate, though, is that every keynote speaker who does it professionally, and what I mean by professionally is they get paid to do it, they treat it very seriously. And they may even do it as, their real profession, and that's all they do as a career. And as a professional, we need to appreciate that the hours that they put in order to be ready for every performance is crazy. Just like an athlete who runs in the Olympics, they put in hours and hours and hours of training for their major performance, which is the big race on the day, right? Now, what we need to appreciate is that we need to have that kind of mentality when we are practicing or when we're preparing for the big day, so to speak, right? And we need to really be thinking about, we need an equal amount of tinkering and an equal amount of designing the thing and an equal amount of actually practicing delivering the thing, right? So 50% making the thing and 50% practice doing the thing, right? So that when we actually show up on the day, it's kind of like all muscle memory and nothing really goes wrong. And even if it does go wrong, you're totally fine because you know everything off the top of your head, right? You are fully prepared. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Actually, let's talk about it now, right? So in the actual presentation that you see me doing, the link below, there's actually two presentations, or there's actually one presentation, but it's got two videos in it. And one thing I highly recommend to every professional speaker or someone's becoming a professional speaker is make sure that you check your tech before you present. Check your tech, right? And what that means is, in my case, what I did is I made sure I checked it 30 minutes beforehand. Then I checked it again 15 minutes beforehand. Then I checked it again 5 minutes beforehand. And then I checked it again 1 minute before I was about to go on stage, right? The thing is, if it had gone wrong, it would be radically embarrassing and it would have made me look very bad. So I wanted to make sure no ifs, no buts, no nothing, everything was going to work smoothly, right? Awesome. So now let's rewind the tape, right? So this actual presentation was actually done I believe in around September. When did I start preparing for it? Actually around March, right? And I actually started preparing for it by attending a public speaking workshop or a public speaking course. Now, this course went for about 5 days, if not 6 days. And I can tell you the name of the course and, I can drop that in the link there for you, but it's not a course that I run, but it's something that someone else ran. And it really got me thinking at a higher level, got me thinking about keynote presenting, and got me thinking in a bigger headspace, right? Because up until that point, I'd be thinking quite small and training workshops and things like that. I'd never actually done a keynote presentation. So I went off and I learned a bunch of skills, which was fantastic, right? And it was also about how to sell from stage, which are really important skills that I need to develop, and we all need those skills, right? So I went off to a 6-day course. And I took my ideas and I plugged them in to the structure and the format of what I was actually learning. And I developed a 30-minute version of the presentation, 30-minute version. Then what I did is I went away, and for the next month leading up to the presentation day, the keynote, I worked my butt off, right? So what I did is I looked at the 50 minutes that I'd been allotted, and I looked at the things like, all right, what do I actually want to present on? I came up with my title, which was From Average to Great, the Steps to Becoming a Powerful and Impactful Trainer in the 21st Century. It's a really good thing to be able to have my title, all right? And basically my title drove my outcome. What was I actually trying to achieve in my keynote presentation? What things was I trying to shift in the audience? What thinking did I want them to change? Then I thought, all right, cool. What pieces of content are going to work towards actually creating that outcome in the audience, right? So I created these different segments with the entire keynote, and I looked at it and I put it all together. And then what I did is I essentially got I got my PowerPoints, and then I got my key points, and then I sent that off to a professional designer who does slides. I did not once think I'm going to make my own slides. I thought, all right, cool. I got this piece of content. What image can I have that's going to reinforce that key point? So I sent those ideas off to a professional designer. I said, I need a slide for this, and this, all right? Then what I did is I created a bullet point syntax of the presentation. And basically I went through it and I did it and I practiced saying it. And I started to realize, all right, it'll probably sound good if I said this here. I started to write down key wording that came to mind as I was actually going through it. All right. So as you can see, I'm probably working backwards a little bit in terms of how you would normally do it. So then basically I ended up with a fleshed out bit of a script, but it was just keywords that I thought were really important to cover as I went through each segment. Then we got to the rehearsal stage. And what we need to appreciate is, as I said earlier, rehearsal is 50% of the entire preparation process. So for me, I'm like, all right, cool. So preparation, I am going to make sure that I rehearse a minimum of 1 hour each day, or if not each time. So by the end of the time, actually leading up, incorporating weekends and incorporating, after hours practice sessions, I ended up practicing about 60 hours for this presentation. Now, it was a 50-minute presentation, but the thing was, it was so important that I get it right. And the thing is, I also realized that professional speakers, they dedicate the time to actually rehearsing. And people like Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, and all that, they spend hundreds of hours, or did spend hundreds of hours, whenever they were delivering a keynote presentation. They practice it, right? So I took on their mentality, right? I was going to make sure that nothing went wrong on the day. So I actually practiced my rehearsals at my office. I practiced in a boardroom. I also practiced in the car. I also practiced on a stage that I actually hired for the sole purpose of actually rehearsing and delivering. And when I actually practiced on the stage, I actually mapped out where was I going to stand, where was I going to gesture, how was I going to gesture, what was my tonality going to be like at different parts of the entire presentation. And guess what? Yes, guess what? I actually filmed myself rehearsing, and then I watched it back, and I'm like, all right, cool, I need to fix this up, fix this up, fix that up. And you may be thinking, wow, that's a lot of dedication for a 50-minute presentation. Yeah, but my question is, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have the dedication to make sure everything goes right on the day? And as a result of putting in that preparation, I can now, to this day, say that that presentation I delivered was the best one I've ever done in my career. And it's something that I still share with people. And it's kind of the culmination of everything I've lived and breathed and taught over the last 10 years in regards to training and presenting and running workshops, which was really cool. And I'm very proud of that presentation. But the amount of hours that went into it, I'm even prouder about, more so than the actual performance on the day, because it takes mental discipline to go, all right, I'm going to prepare it again. I'm going to tweak it again. I'm going to rehearse it again, right? So that commitment to getting it as good as it can be and even better is the most important thing there, folks. So I just wanted to sort of share those tidbits there with anyone that's thinking of becoming a professional speaker, or wants to step into the keynote space or wants to prepare to deliver one, start to think about, all right, what's your title? And then think about what areas do you want to shift people's thinking in? And then think about, all right, what are the facts? What are the things? What are the aha moments that you want your audience to have that will get them towards that title or that outcome, so to speak, right? So at the end of the day, though, it's all about audience engagement. It's all about keeping your audience focused and engaged. There's a number of videos that I use at the beginning. There's a number of state break things that I do in the presentation. And one thing we need to appreciate is that depending on the excitement of your audience, it's going to be sometimes a harder lift or a harder task to get people involved or get people engaged, right? So the audience that I was dealing with was a little bit more of a colder audience, so I needed to work doubly hard to get them focused, interested in the content, and all of that. Also, I was a little bit of a stranger to the world of their world, so they were getting to know me for the very first time. The other fun fact is I was going straight after the motivational speaker or the person that was the highlight of the event. So I had a little bit of ground to cover, but it went really, really well. And so hopefully you got some value from the video, some different ideas around you can prepare for your very first keynote presentation. On that note, thanks for watching, team, and we'll see you on the next one.